as we always talk in these episodes, there's someone building an asset here, and it's not you.
So you posted 47 times last month, reach is good, but growth is stalling, and you're exhausted. But you can't stop, because if you pause for just one day, the algorithm hurts you.
But Aaron, I think I should have just been consistent, and that works.
Sure, that's a win for the platform, but it isn't a win for you. So by the end of this video, you're going to see why the content treadmill is structurally designed to burn you out, the data that proves that, and also the 3-step pivot that you can do to reclaim your time while building actual wealth. So first, we're going to talk about the data and why always-on content is really just killing creators. We're going to then talk about what actually scales without killing you. And then finally, we're going to give you a playbook to exit this treadmill and to build real ownership.
The treadmill is designed for platforms, not you.
Yeah. So this is kind of obvious, but I guess it's also something that nobody really tells you about the creator economy, and that it's actually not sustainable if you think about it, right? So if you look at the data, surveys done this year in 2025 show that 52% of creators are reporting burnout, and that 37% year on year are actively leaving the industry. And we also know that about 75% of creators regularly experience stress or some form of anxiety related to their content creation. So it really isn't just a few people complaining. You know, we want to think that it's a few people who just aren't working hard enough complaining, but it's not that. It's actually a systemic problem related to creators in general and the industry in general. So you might be wondering, why is this the case? Well, we know that platforms reward consistency, right? Because they need content to feed the beast, the algorithm, so to speak. So if you post daily, the algorithm loves you, it boosts you, it gives you more visibility, which is what you want. But if you miss a day or two, your visibility starts to tank. It starts to drop. And if you take a week off, you may as well be invisible as far as the platform is concerned. And there's a quote that's gone around, I'm not really sure who it's attributed to, but basically it goes, you can't pause the internet, which really applies to the creator economy. So Tom, what's the structural problem here? Why does this happen?
Well, it's the sustainability thing, right? You know, when you slow down, people move on. And some of it is just emotional. So there's two examples I can think of really quickly. One, I've seen some influencers who have got successful with YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, right? And it kind of came by accident, you know, posted a couple things, took off, and then, you know, the business started growing. And typically around the 3-year mark, there's a video that comes out of them crying on video.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen these before, right?
I've seen this.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's, things need to change, you know, like one of those, you know, and which is normal. You know, there's a lot of things happening there, right?
Sadly, that's normal.
Yeah. You know, the worst part of it, usually for women, is the stalkers. Right. That's one thing that happens. The second one is like this whole validation. Like they don't know who they are anymore. Because to be a good influencer or persuader online, kind of like Trump, you got to make yourself into this character. You know, which is, that's not a real you, yeah. But if you show the real you, people start lashing back very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. The other thing is, there's a documentary, I can't remember what the name is, but basically they took 3 or 4 unknown people, nobodies.
Fake famous.
Yeah.
I remember that.
They're somebodies, but they're nobodies when it comes to, you know, influence, right? And they just showed with fake engagement, fake payments, fake all this stuff, they can make you famous and you're, you know, now the same as everyone else. And some people think like, oh, that's great because I'll fake it till I make it. But even at the end of that movie, that documentary, a lot of those people gave up and didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, 2 of them, I think, quit.
Yeah. And the big part of it is realizing that, again, it's not you. People like the fake thing that they think is you, and you lose yourself again. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not just that having to create content all the time, but it's those other pieces too. And research showed that from 2021, first time since then, the average weekly hours spent creating content has fallen.
And this isn't because tools have made it easier. This is more because people are getting tired of it.
Yeah. And again, the algorithm is, paying you in dopamine, not in assets. Like, you don't own anything. You upload a video, it gets views, then it dies. Then you got to figure out how to say the same thing again in a different way.
Yeah. So I have a bit of a story that just happened, actually, that my wife was telling me about. So she has a friend who is in Asia. We call them idols. So they're like, influencers before the internet was a thing, but it's still a culture that happens. So she's, I would say, semi-famous. She has a following and a fan base, right? And she did an event where she was the master of ceremonies for two very popular, let's call them drama actors recently. And she did not do her best job at the event, right? It's just her style. She's not, let's just say it was not what the fans of those two guys were after. So they took to the internet, and basically for the last 3 days, they've been doing like a systematic hit campaign on her, trying to smear her reputation, leaking her photos, like doing all sorts of crazy fan stalkerish stuff. And it's in those moments where creators like her are like, why am I doing this? Why am I subjecting myself to so much stress and harassment? And the platform doesn't care. The platform is not going to take any of this down, because all of it, all the comments, all the likes, all the shares, that's just feeding their algorithm, right? So when things are going good, she gets rewarded in dopamine when she posts something. When things are going bad right now, there's really no asset value or any real value in it for her. It's just stress and anxiety. And all these things add together, and this is why a lot of creators, they hit a wall and they burn out. There's just so many things going on, and when things go bad, it just gets even worse.
Yeah, because it's all about attention, right? If it's good attention coming your way, attention.
You feel good at least.
Yeah, if it's bad attention, it's your way.
It does not feel nice.
But the platforms get win-win on both, right? They sell ads, they build valuations, they build the machine. Yeah. As we always talk in these episodes, there's someone building an asset here, and it's not you. But it's off you, no matter what happens, right? So the treadmill is rigged.
It is. So the question becomes, as a creator, what actually is going to scale for you, right? So let's dig into that. Let's talk about the return on investment on your time as a creator, right? So if you think about it, or if you've done content creation for a while, you know that creating the actual content is time consuming, but it's probably not where most of your time goes. Most of your time is actually going into the hidden work. It's dealing with distribution, with administration, with managing the platform, with engaging with your fans, with following other trends. The actual creation is actually a very small fraction of your time in comparison, right? Like if you look at successful content creators, they are basically sitting on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or Twitter or wherever it is that they're active on. They're scrolling all day, right? To anyone from the outside, it looks like social media addiction. But what they're really doing is updating themselves on trends, on hashtags, on things they can do to think about the content that they're going to create tomorrow or next week or the week after. Probably no more than a couple of weeks out, right? But they cannot switch their brains off. They are spending so much time doing research and ideation, and that's before they even get to the filming, which is crazy if you think about it, right? And if you compare that to what creators actually make, well, we already know top creators make a lot of money. They earn very, very well. But the average creator income is really modest. So I know, Tom, you had a stat. You said that like on School, the average creator makes what, $1,500 a month?
Yeah, it's about that, which...
Yeah. It's actually okay.
It is.
Comparatively.
It is. But, $100 of that will go to school already.
Yep,
right?
for fees. Yeah.
And then you got to think, like, you just did the work of a whole team. A normal company would have 6 people doing all these roles. You just did everything.
You are a one-person media production machine.
And then what sucks is you get a client, if he pays you with a bag, I mean, it's a joke, but it'd be a great bag with a great resale value. But it's like, okay, they didn't have to hire anyone in-house. Definitely not a team.
No agency.
They haven't had to pay you health insurance or pay towards your unemployment or any other things. and they're getting you for probably a quarter of what they would have to pay normally, and are still dictating and telling you, you need to do more, or you should, there's still demands.
Yeah. So if you're a creator and you've ever worked with like a larger company, you'll know what their briefs are like. Their briefs are like, multiple pages long. You have to follow them to the dot, like timing, wording, everything has to be perfect. They will make you sign a legal agreement saying that if you got something wrong, they can withhold payment or they can just not pay at all. It's a lot of work. You're basically doing the work of what in a traditional marketing agency would be, as Tom said, a team of 6 people doing, but you're expected to do it and execute it all yourself, usually to a time deadline as well, right? Which is kind of crazy. And what are you doing all this for? So, I'll put this chart up on the screen. We've shown this one before. The average B2C influencer, micro level, makes a couple $100 a month off sponsorships, because mostly they're just getting free merchandise, free product. Once you get into a mid-tier, 100 to a million, 100K to a million, you're making $1,000-something a month, right? It's only when you get to that mega tier of $1 million plus that you're really making money that you can live off. And then again, it's only about $5,000 a month, which is comparable to a decent office job in the United States. So you spend all this time posting, but it doesn't equal guaranteed income. It's not like going to the gym where if you just put in the work, you'll get in shape. It's more like you put in a ton of work and then there is no correlation between the amount of times you post and your actual income, right? So you can post daily. Each post has got a half-life of a day, a couple of days, something like that. But there's no compounding, there's no leverage, there's no equity. So I think you said, Tom, that consistency without compounding is basically running on a hamster wheel.
It is. And there's another thing here that a lot of creators don't consider, right? Because when you get paid to play, you don't even notice it. You posted something, you got paid for it. Yeah, there's no equity, there's nothing there, right? But I've worked with people who actually have tried selling their own kind of crappy products, but, their own thing, right? So here's what happens. Let's say you got a course, because everyone knows these course people, and you have 100,000 audience. Or let's see, 200,000. It's, it's just, I think that's pretty normal for the average, creator. You put out the course, they buy it, they learn what they need, and they don't need you anymore. So with a bad product, you got to create new ones all the time, because posting more content doesn't equal more sales even with a bad product. For some reason, I've noticed around the 6-figure mark that people are making from courses with their creators, with their viewers, there's a plateau. So in the beginning, when they start posting for the initial, maybe let's say 12 months, they're like, sales are coming. The more I post, the more, my people see it, because the algorithm hasn't shown it to everybody. And, but after about that time, they come to me and be like, well, now I'm posting more and income's going down.
You've saturated your audience.
Yeah, and it's a product problem, right? So this is why our business model that we keep preaching is you want to exit with the product before you completely saturate your market. So when you're at the peak, when things are going well, let someone else pay you a multiple. So now you have a lot of money, a lot of runway, a lot of time to come up with the new idea. And if you do it the way we actually say it, someone else comes up with the idea, builds the product, you just plug it in, run with it, get your audience what they want, exit, and it's the most beautiful business model in the world, right? So a couple of things we switched around, but it's because of the problems we've been seeing with the market and with the stuff people have been doing.
Yeah. So what we would say is that you want to go from being a creator to really being an exit-only creator, right? You want to replace output with ownership. And there are kind of, you think about it, there's kind of 3 rungs on the ladder progression for creators. So the lowest rung, the lowest rung would be the floor, which is just free stuff, right? Which is where a lot of people start, and it's an industry where a lot of people stay for a long time. For example, in beauty, this happens a lot. You just get a ton of free product and be asked to review it. or to make a post about it, but there's no monetary value in it, right? And most of it can't be resold. The next rung up, the first rung where you're making real money is going to be sponsorships. You get cash now. There's no long-term upside. If you stop hustling for sponsorships or you stop posting, the cash stops. And this is where most creators are. I would say like, what do I reckon? Like 75 to 80%. That sounds about right. Creators are kind of stuck at this level and they're only making a few $100s here and there, depending on their follower size and how good they are at getting sponsorships. Your next level up is what Tom just talked about, which is you have your own product, but you got to build it, which takes time, which also takes time out of making posts and doing other things. But it does compound and it is recurring revenue if you do it right and you own it. But it takes time, and it's even your own product is a depreciating asset because over time you're going to saturate your audience and there's going to be no one left to sell to if you haven't grown your audience significantly. The next rung, which is what we talk about, is equity in aligned products. So you have leverage today with the potential of an exit tomorrow. So you promote something preferably that you already use, but instead of a one-time sponsored post fee, you take equity in the actual business, right? And why this matters is because when you post, platforms win because they get people or creators posting consistently on their platform. And as a creator, you need to find your own form of a model that compounds for you as well. Not for the algorithm, but for you. So let's take a hypothetical example. Let's say you're a beauty creator with 500,000 followers, right? And on Instagram, that's quite a significant following. You are someone who is, within that niche at least, probably going to be known by every second person, right? So, if you get an offer to promote a skincare brand, you're probably going to make about $5,000 for it. If you're a creator in the US, that's pretty normal, pretty average, right? But what if you negotiated equity instead? So you're not going to get this with any of the big luxury brands or anything, but the niche brands that are maybe made by other creators or made by savvy business people, you can ask for 0.5% equity, right? And maybe even some cash to do your posting on a monthly basis. But the main thing is the equity. Now, the brand is probably going to tell you, hey, for that, I'd like you to post weekly or monthly or whatever it is. And because it's probably going to be a product that you believe in, or that this particular hypothetical beauty creator believes in, the product is going to be used regularly as part of your normal routine. And the content is going to be faster and easier to create because it can be dropped into different kinds of posts, slice of life, stories, other things as well. It's not just like you following a script for, a one-off $5,000 promotional sponsored post. So what happens is revenue has now been decoupled from a posting cadence. So let's say fast forward a couple of years, you've been doing this, the brand likes you, you've made some money either in, paper post or some profit share, but you have equity. And the brand, because it has a whole team of people behind it, ends up getting acquired for, say, $10 million. And your equity stake in that is $50,000. And that was just one deal that you've done, right? That's what we call leverage. So, Tom, what is the playbook that creators can take and do?
It's a 3-step process. The first part is the audit, right? So you want to write down all the things you do, let's say in the last 60, 90 days, same tasks that don't compound. Can I kill any of them? Can I delegate any of them? Can I automate any of them? Because that's not really what's making me compounding money. This is the job that I got myself. The next thing is ownership, right? So can I move at least one sponsor slot into something with equity? Can I negotiate anything if I can prove that it's going to scale? In the beginning, you have to, you don't have that much leverage because you don't have the case studies. So it might be one of these, like, if I hit these goals, do I get the equity? And the third thing is you want to make sure that when you negotiate, you're looking for things that are going to exit. A lot of companies, a lot of people you talk to, they will tell you, I'm never going to exit with this thing. I don't want to. Even when the economy kills it, they will still hang on to it. Those are bad deals for you. You want to work with people. Sauce, for example, definitely if it's VC backed, the only reason that thing is going is because it needs an exit. Everyone's looking for it. So that's a good place for you. With e-com, don't think about the stores. The stores will not give you equity. what you're looking for is the guy who made the dog leash on Amazon, that guy that makes selling jump ropes, that guy that's, doing one product, typically could be close to $1 million already, but they definitely want to sell.
Yes, that's the reason they get into that.
Yeah, and one reason they do want to sell is because they are relying on a platform that might pull the rug underneath them, and you need to know this, right? That's your point of leverage. Okay, you're selling this thing, it's making a lot of money. How long will Amazon let you doing it? How long will eBay before something happens? How long will, whatever. You just need to, and then you come in, I'll help you scale it past this number. I want this much equity. And now instead of, like Aaron said, $5,000 payout, with a small creator, like with a small business person like that, with a product, you might be able to get much more than $50K. Depending on the scalability. Because the multiple could be, pretty high. And you could get 5x multiple on an annual. There's a calculator we have, and you can go to it, click the link below the video. You can calculate this, but the numbers become kind of crazy when you really see it that way. Like, okay, I've just done this much work. I've only upped the guy's revenue by like a couple K, but with an exit, those are big numbers.
Yeah. So the content treadmill, it's really designed as a creator to burn you out, right? 52% of creators report burnout, 75% have some kind of stress or anxiety issue. And for the first time, in the last 5 years or so, creators are actually working less because they physically cannot keep up with the demands of the algorithm. You can't really outpost a system that is designed to exhaust you. So what you need to do instead is you need to limit the treadmill, you need to add in ownership, you need to stop trading your time for dollars, and you need to start trading your influence for equity instead. So first thing, subscribe to this channel because we are going to be talking more about this topic in the future. And like Tom said, if you want to see just how much more you could potentially make with an equity stake in another business, go to the link below. We have a calculator that is going to show you exactly what it could potentially work out to in the future. And look, you can keep on feeding the algorithm and wondering why you're exhausted, or you can post less, own more, and actually build something that lasts. But remember, the content treadmill doesn't stop for you, and you can't really get off it. We'll see you in the next one.